What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. You join me today at Suzuka. We are in the Forza touring car hopper and we are in our trusty little Hyundai. We are not going to be doing any form of qualifying in this one here. We're just going to be starting the race from the back of the grid, putting in a couple of practice laps just to get a sense of our pace through this one here. First lap was incredibly pedestrian at old 2:17.4. We do, however, manage to find almost 2 seconds coming through the hairpin, which then increases to 2.2 seconds through Spoon Curve. We managed to keep that advantage through 140R, but we do get out of shape in the braking zone. Bin it into the wall there, unfortunately, and we will call that one a day. So we will be starting from the back of this very big grid. It's 20 car lobby to start this one here. The Audi having a little shimmy down the start straight leads me to believe that we're probably going to have an intermission bug. We're also going to be the start of our road to 5k rating. So we're starting from 4.263. We'll be keeping a track of our ratings going through the next few races, and we're just going to see how far up the ratings we can climb. As I thought, we do get a intermission bug here, so we're just going to have to sit and wait for that. It was quite a long one in this one, unfortunately. It was overall about a minute and a half of just sat there waiting to see if the game would in fact actually start, but we do manage to get onto the grid, starting from the back here in our Hyundai. We get away nice and smoothly. Do a quick check around just to make sure that we are indeed last on the grid. The Golf ahead of us has a fantastic start here, sliding his way up through the middle of the grid here to start this one off. As you can see, we have got a team friend in the Hyundai just ahead of us coming in here. We are both sporting the same livery from the Forza store. Getting through here, there's not as much murder as I thought there was going to be through turn one, if I'm being brutally honest. It's part of the reason I started the back is to avoid said murder, and it all seems to go through quite smoothly, but thankfully my faith in chaos has been restored, and as we come through the S's here to close it out, we do have a couple of cars having a bit of an altercation, rejoining the track from the right hand side, so we are up to a P16. We're coming through up the hill here towards the Degners. We've got the Hyundai sliding off the track just to the right hand side, so we do make that P15. We're following up the Astra here. We brake nice and early to make sure he's got plenty of space, and he just drives straight off into the gravel, so that makes that P14. Thank you very much. So we've made up 4 positions off of the grid. We have got a Civic that was off into the gravel bearing down on us from behind, so we're going to go nice and defensive into the hairpin on the first lap here, just to make sure we don't get any funny business. We get on the power nice and smoothly, and we keep him behind us for P14. Coming down to Spoon, we've got someone going all out of shape there. It would be a Link & Co who either got punted or outbraked himself or something, but went very, very deep into the runoff, but manages to rejoin nice and cleanly. And we managed to gap the Civic behind us by about a second by the time we get to the Casio triangle. The Focus and the Link & Co getting all up close and personal. We cut as much of the track as we can to try and avoid that. The Focus gets out ahead. Unfortunately, the Link & Co is the one to suffer out on that behind us, so we do make that now up to P13. So not a bad start to this one at all. We sit in behind the Focus, coming down the start finish straight here, looking to see if we can pick up any slipstream. Nothing really gained until right at the very end of the straight before we had to pull out to make sure we didn't drive straight to the back of him, not being sure where his braking marker is, not wanting to have an accidental collision to start this one off here after the good start that we've got. So coming through the S's, we are a bit more composed than the guy ahead of us. You can see he gets all out of brake, has to put his brakes on there through that part of it. We go around the outside of the left-hander to be on the inside of the right-hander to get that position done, and we are up now to P12. Pretty happy with that move, if I do say so myself. We're coming up to 140R. We do get a bit too greedy, a bit late on turning, a bit too much speed, drift out wide, and we get a hefty 1.3 second penalty for that very minor infraction. So yeah, a little bit annoyed by that. It did actually break my concentration enough to make me miss my braking point for the chicane there, and we do hold off throttle just to make sure we don't get any more penalties for cut the track or anything like that. So we drop back down behind the Focus, and then we've got the Civic that was bearing down on us on the first lap, slides through as well, brings us down to P14. If you have a look up the inside, he goes defensive. We brake nice and early to get a good run through it, but that does leave the door open for someone to have a late lunge on here, Ayrton Senna style, which would appear to be the Link & Co, and he leaves the door open for another Civic to follow him through as well. So through all of that, we are now down to P16. So from the chicane to turn 1 of the next lap, we drop down 4 positions. So that is mildly annoying, but anyway, we've got 5 more laps of this really to make those positions back, so we'll just go ahead down and keep going. So as you can see through the S's, we are very, very competitive with the people ahead of us in here. We have managed to close up the gap almost entirely, coming through those series of corners here, coming up to the Degners. We're just looking to sit as close as we can, but not too close where we can benefit from anyone having a bit of a brain fart, and we were rewarded pretty quickly because the Civic there goes very deep into the gravel, so we get that position back. So that's P15. Coming into the hairpin is always a good place for someone to miss their braking markers, go very deep, so we're going to be nice and careful through here. We lifted a little bit and then brake nice and early, keep on the hairpin. The Civic ahead of us is held up with the Lincoln Co, who did go deep, coming back across and stopping him from getting on the throttle when he would have liked to. We did have an initial bit of drive coming out the corner ahead of him, but he did manage to block us in, so we're just going to sit back here and see if we again can just capitalise on any form of mistakes. Braking a little bit early here, you can see the Civic drifts a little bit wide. We put our nose up the inside, we keep it clean, we don't make any form of contact in that one, we keep it to the left and we get that position done. We have a look behind to see where the Civic is. He's still there, so we keep it to the left. He slots in behind us and can run the race down to 140. He does seem to be gaining on me with the slipstream. I didn't go defensive on this one because I did think that this guy hopefully has trust in me as we managed to make that position without any form of contact, and he doesn't try the risky move to sling up the outside. We brake coming down into the Casio triangle here once again, and he again gives us space, doesn't try anything risky on that one, so I think he's realised it's probably best for us to work together. The Link making a very late decision to get some tyres there for the end, going into the end of lap 3, beginning of lap 4. The Civic behind us stays out with us. Over the course of the next lap, we managed to close up about 3 seconds to the lead cars ahead of us, so we went long to see if we can have better tyres at the end of the race, and thinking that we've been held up until this point. We do pit at the end of lap 4, meaning we've got 3 laps left to get these tyres to last. So as we do with pit stops, if you are enjoying this one here, well, we've got a bit of a respite. If you would like to drop a like, leave me a comment, and if you do enjoy the content, please do subscribe for more in the future. We managed to make up a position through this pit stop here, which I didn't know was really anything you could do, to be honest, but we did manage to somehow pit quicker than the Civic in front of us. So we come out in P11. We keep it tight because the Civic is on our outside. I don't think he's particularly happy about us taking that position up here because he gives us a little tap on the way through. We managed to feather the throttle to keep the nose pointing in the right direction, but he does get back ahead of us. But as we did manage to catch up 3 seconds on the Focus and Civic ahead of us on the lap prior to pitting, I'm not too worried because I do think that I have more underlying pace than these two, so there is a P10 on the cards for this one, at least at this point in the race. The Civic getting all out of shape, coming towards the second end, the second half of the S's there. We close up the gap coming up the hill towards the Degners. He goes defensive onto the right hand side and then cuts back to the left again, going to cause a little bit of contact. This guy's not particularly great at picking a defensive line, he's more weaving than defending. He does manage to get a penalty going through the first part of Degners, as he did cut the apex of the first part incredibly aggressively. So we are just sitting behind him. We go around the outside because he brakes earlier than I was expecting him to do. We sting it around the outside, try and get the cut back, but he holds his car there. We do get a better drive out of the corner, but again, he is in front of us. We have to lift off. We are being put under a bit of pressure from the Lincoln Co that's behind us. He's now caught up a second over this lap, more or less, and he's now only 0.4 of a second behind us coming into Spoon Curve. We put up the inside, there's not really anything that we can do there. The Civic again putting himself in a position where it's either contact or he keeps the position, so we try and avoid that as best we can. Second part of Spoon is a bit less clean than I would have liked it to be. I was a bit out of shape coming through the entire of that corner here, and we're now worried about this Lincoln Co behind us, especially with this Civic going so slowly through the apex of the 140R, meaning we have to delay getting on throttle for what felt like forever. Lincoln Co is on our right hand side, but he does manage to at least afford me the space to not run into me as he tries to turn into the apex on that one, so we do keep the position. He is the beneficiary of the slipstream coming through on the start finish straight. He does sling it around the outside through the first turn. We keep it tight on the inside. We're still alongside, but he tries to muscle me off the track, so we reply in kind, coming through the first part of the S's here and leave him about as much space as he needs and not much more. We hold our position through the S's here. He gets all out of shape coming through the second of the left rights when we manage to keep P12. The Civic ahead of us again, still struggling through the S's. We do manage to gain up a load of time through here. Coming up through the hairpin, he runs wide, which gives us a much better run coming down towards Spoon Curve here. We've only got about a lap and a bit left at this point, so we do need to get a move on past the Civic as he is costing me time. As you can see, the Lincoln has been dropped by the Civic behind us. We get all out of shape, but the Civic is also catching up on us as well, so we don't particularly want to hang around. We do need to get in front of this guy as soon as possible. We get a much better run out of Spoon down the hill towards 140R. We do let off the throttle just before we get to the apex of it here. I don't think that putting it up the inside was going to be the smartest idea with this guy, so we bide our time and just try and get through there cleanly. Breaking into the Casio chicane, we brake nice and early. He gets very, very deep on there, being very aggressive on his brakes, and runs out of room and goes off into the infield. So that gives us P11 with 1 lap to go here. Through the first series of corners, we managed to catch right up to the back of the Focus and the Civic ahead of us, knowing from the second lap that we've got a lot more pace than this Focus through the S's here. We are running a lot more grip, and we do have a much better line, as we did make up a position on this guy coming through here. So as you can see, we are just closing up through the S's here. Coming up the hill towards the Degners, the Civic runs wide, but not enough to cause any form of issues. The Focus does have to back out of it, which leaves him slow coming down into the entry of the Degners here. We back out just to make sure that no contact really happens. It's not really one you can sling your nose up the inside without causing some form of major incident. We get through the Degners, we are close to the Focus. The Civic behind us I don't think is close enough to really make a move. We keep it tight through the hairpin. The Focus is on our outside still though, unfortunately, and does get good drive out of the corner, so we have to concede back down to P11. Coming into Spoon, he goes very deep and just slides off the track a little bit there. We put it up the inside again, no contact made. Nice clean move up the inside through Spoon for the second time in this race, when we managed to seal the job coming out of it, coming down towards 140R. So we have 2-ish turns left before the end of the race with P9 on the cards. Going to sit behind this Civic here, just going to look to see if we can get something into the Casio triangle. He brakes incredibly early and incredibly hard coming through. 140R leaves me very out of shape in the wrong gear. We have the Civic coming, the Focus coming back at us on the outside. We brake on the inside. He gives us no space at all through the chicane there, gets us all out of shape, which means we do drop, unfortunately, all the way back down to P13, which then becomes P13. We are now worried about our 1.3 second penalty. We do manage to keep 1.4 ahead of the Civic behind us to hold on to P13. Oh, right, well, that was an eventful one there, guys. Not the best end, unfortunately. We were robbed of a top 10 finish, unfortunately, but still mostly a good race, I think, on most parts here. Obviously, the main thing on this one here was we only managed to get 1 penalty on it, because I think that does impact your rating as well as your safety rating, and we do improve ever so slightly to 4271, so an improvement of a little bit on that one. But thank you very much for watching, guys. If you did enjoy this, please do leave a like and a comment, subscribe for more, and I look forward to seeing you in the future. Cheers.